Welcome to this amazing session on empowering breastfeeding with experts, insights, and advice. My name is Kannu Priya, and I'm a yoga teacher and a certified evaluator with the Ministry of Ayush. I'm also the founder of Yogini.live, a digital platform which focuses on improving women's health through yoga across different stages of life. With me here is Gayathri Kanumuri. She's the founder of NariCare, a certified elementary lactation enabler. NariCare is a digital healthcare platform for women helping pregnant and new mothers successfully breastfeed their babies. Hi, Gayatri. I'm so glad to have you
Thank
here.
you.
And we have Renuka.
Yeah.
Renuka is the founder of a wellness venture called Maatritava, which takes care of nutrition for women at different stages of womanhood. I welcome you both lovely ladies here on this platform. And I am really intrigued coming back to the topic of breastfeeding. How did you, Gayatri, how did you get involved and what inspired you to start Nari Care?
Sure. So I gave birth to my first baby girl in October 2020, and that's when I really got introduced to the subject of breastfeeding. Because until that point, I didn't even give much thought to breastfeeding, right? Like it's such a natural thing. So I honestly thought there's nothing to be prepared for breastfeeding. It's going to be simple. You just put the breast to the baby, and the baby will just feed immediately, right? That's what I thought. But boy, was I wrong. After coming home from the hospital, I struggle with breastfeeding a lot because my baby didn't latch well at all. And the doctor tells you that the baby has to feed like every 2 to 3 hours, which is almost like 8 to 12 times in a day. But she wouldn't even wake up like at 4 hour stretches. And that caused me a lot of stress. And there were times where she would feed for 40 minutes once, and another feed, she would only feed 20 minutes. And I was like, how do I know if she's getting enough milk? Something all these, there were so many questions which I didn't have answers to. And there was a point where this caused me so much stress that at 3 weeks, I was like, I'm not going to be starving my baby. So I should probably quit breastfeeding and just give her formula. There was a point when I really wanted to quit. But luckily, I sought the help of a lactation consultant. And really things changed for the good after that. The lactation consultant basically cleared all my questions, gave me access to evidence-based information, and she then later added me to a support group, which was a real game changer for me, because getting the information was really good, but being a part of this group with all of other new moms who are pretty much going through the same phase as you really just broaden a lot of perspective. And it helps you normalize a lot of things, because these moms are asking pretty much the same questions that I had in my mind. Hey, my baby is not sleeping, or my baby is my baby is very sleepy, she wouldn't wake up, or she's not sleeping through the night, or how do I know if she's getting enough milk? And then when I pump one breast is producing more milk than the other, and questions like these, which are common for many new moms, right? When I saw that, that's when things really started settling down for me, because I was like, okay, I'm not the only one going through this. Every mom goes through this journey. It's hard in the initial few days, but moms go through it. Eventually, the baby and the mother will learn the skill of breastfeeding, and it'll get better. So being a part of that support group made the entire difference for me in my breastfeeding journey. So that was what helped me. So yeah, this is how I got basically introduced to the subject. And when I understood that it was just a little bit of information and support that I needed at that point to overcome my challenges, and exclusively breastfeed my baby, I was really shocked. I mean, I was like, this is really ridiculous that there's not enough awareness, there's not enough information about the challenges that a mom faces in the initial few days of a breastfeeding. And there has to be proper breastfeeding education, and there has to be proper ongoing support for the mother, because you're going to be constantly getting questions at different uh, uh, age of the baby, right? And you need to have that constant support for you to understand what is a fact, what is a myth, and you need to have access to evidence-based information, right? Because once I got that information and support, I was able to solve my issues within 2 weeks. And I started exclusively breastfeeding my baby. So that's when I really thought, if this is all is what is needed to solve, to overcome challenges, then I really want to be a part of the solution. If I could do it, many other moms could do it. And I really thought there is a high need for moms to have access to evidence-based breastfeeding education and support so that they can continue to breastfeed for as long as they want to. Yeah.
Many women face these kind of issues, and they are not very lucky to have that kind of support with them, or where they can seek support or guidance on breastfeeding. So I want to lead this conversation with you telling us more about what are some of the benefits of breastfeeding for the women as well as the baby.
So breast milk provides the optimum nutrition for your baby. It has the perfect blend of vitamins, minerals, proteins, fats. But what makes breast milk unique and like non-replicable is the bioactive components in it, right? So breast milk contains antibodies, growth factors, hormones, and also HMOs, which are like the good food for your bacteria in your gut, which improves the gut health of the baby. So when babies are born, their the immune system is not completely developed. It's still immature, right? So the baby has a higher chance of falling sick, getting illnesses, right? So what happens when the baby gets breast milk is they get all the antibodies and these disease fighting cells from the breast milk, which helps them fall sick less often. And even if they fall sick, they heal much faster compared to formula fed babies. So, and also breast milk reduces the risk of a baby to get type 1 diabetes, obesity, and it reduces the risk of a baby getting sudden infant death syndrome by 50%. The baby has lesser respiratory infections. The baby falls less sick, lesser ear infections as well. And breastfed babies have higher IQ. So there's so many advantages, nutritionally. But if you think about it emotionally, it provides a great bond between the baby and the mother. Breastfeeding, for the mother to breastfeed, she holds the baby so close to her body. So the baby mother starts to smell the baby, hold the baby so close, give the baby a lot of skin to skin, and this promotes a great bond, right? And there is a flow of oxytocin. There is a release of oxytocin hormone when the baby's held by the mom so close, which helps also in better bonding, right? So both nutritionally and emotionally, it is really, really good. And coming to the benefits of breastfeeding to the mother, mothers who breastfeed their babies have a lesser risk of getting cervical cancer, ovarian cancer, breast cancer, and they also have a lesser risk of getting type 2 diabetes and hypertension, right? And it's also like, it's not just the benefits are not just for the baby and the mother. It Breast milk is very sustainable. It's so good for the environment, right? There's no bottles, there's no heating, there's no sterilizing. It comes at the perfect temperature. All you have to do is just hold the baby and put the baby to the breast. And, the baby is calm and the baby is satisfied after the feeding. So, even from a sustainability perspective, it's like really, really good. There's no transportation involved. There's no no carbon footprint. So it's very good for the environment. So breastfeeding provides so many benefits for the baby, the mother, and also the environment. Yeah.
Very well put, Gayatri. I think you very elaborately told us the benefits of breastfeeding for the mother and the child, and also for the environment at large. So, Gayatri, when you talked about breastfeeding, and even in my own journey of motherhood, I've had so many people give me so much of advice, and it's difficult to filter out what's genuinely correct and what's not. So, many women have faced different issues because there's so many myths and misconceptions around breastfeeding. So, I'd like you to throw some light on what are the kinds of these misconceptions that are around breastfeeding and how women should tackle those.
Absolutely. There is widespread myths and misinformation, which causes many moms not to make informed choices. Um, so, one of the first things is that breastfeeding is easy. That's the biggest myth. Uh, it is natural, but it doesn't come easy for a lot of women. For some women, maybe the baby is latching well right from the get go, and the mother is also able to latch the baby easily. But that is rare compared to how many moms actually face difficulties in the initial period. We all have to understand that breastfeeding is a skill that is learned both by the mother and the baby, and it takes time. It's just like learning how to play a violin. You don't just learn it overnight. It takes time, and you need support in the initial stages. So be prepared for that mentally and get that support, if possible, prior to your delivery. If not, at least get it as soon as possible. So that's the first myth, and I'd like to cover a few more. Another one is moms think that the first milk that comes after the baby is born, it's called colostrum. It is full of antibodies. It's supposed to be the first vaccine for the baby. It acts as the first vaccine for the baby. It has high proteins, and it's really, really good. It's produced in very small amounts, but it's the best nutrition for the baby at that point. So in India, some areas they think that milk is witch's milk or something, and they should not give that to the baby, and they should discard it. It's absolutely not true. It's the best nutrition for the baby in the first few days. It acts as a natural laxative, and that is how the meconium goes away from the baby's body. And yeah, that is a big myth, uh, which moms should be better informed of. And also another one is moms think that if they have small breasts, they can't produce enough milk. That is not at all true. The size of your breast is dependent upon the fatty tissue, but how much milk you're able to make for the baby is dependent upon the glandular tissue. Even a mother who has small breasts can have sufficient glandular tissue and can produce sufficient amount of milk for the baby. So don't think that if you have small breasts, it equates to you not being able to breastfeed your baby, right? That's not true. And the last and the most important one that I want to cover is today, many women are led to believe that it's common for some women it's common that a lot of women just don't produce enough milk. Even I was told this, when I had my friends who were who gave birth before me, and when they asked, "Hey, why were you not able to do it?" They also believed that it's genuine. It's some people just don't produce enough milk. But the truth is, in the entire population, in the entire world's population, only less than 5% of women cannot genuinely produce enough milk. Most of the cases that we are seeing today where moms have low milk supply, not able to give enough milk to their baby, it's because of lack of education and lack of support for the mother. So if you're able to give that to the mom, a lot more mothers will be able to successfully breastfeed the babies.
Right.
Yeah. So now let's compare breast milk to formula. Formula is made out of cow's milk. It's a processed food. It doesn't provide the optimum nutrition for your baby, because while nutritionally you can match uh, what is found in breast milk in formula, you cannot replicate the live cells, which are the antibodies, the macrophages, the HMOs, the growth factors, and the hormones. You cannot replicate that in formula, right? And also, you have to mix formula with water. There are so many places in India where people don't have access to pure water. And what happens when you mix formula with impure water? The baby is more prone to diarrhea, and the baby will have a higher risk of getting stomach bugs and everything. So whatever advantages we talked about breastfeeding until now, the risk of getting all these infections and illnesses are less. This doesn't mean that formula fed babies will definitely get all those diseases, right? It's just that they have a higher risk, right? And also, if you think about it, formula is very expensive. It costs about 700 rupees to get 1 tin of formula, which will last about a week. Not everyone can afford that, right? So breast milk is not just the optimum nutrition for your baby. It is cheap. It has many benefits for the baby, the mother, and the environment.
Yeah, that summarizes it quite well. I think I also would very much agree on the fact that there are so many things that we can do as a community to support all the women and not question every time that, okay, the baby is so thin. I think you're not producing enough milk. So you hear that many times from even women around you. So women in your family who are elders to you. I think that should really change, and actually you should act as a pillar of support and help her identify if there are any actual problems, or is it just something which can be resolved very easily. So I'd like to ask Kanupriya, in her experience working with postnatal clients, how has been like how breastfeeding journey when they are practicing yoga, has there been any benefits that she can see, or what are the kind of things that yoga prescribes for women in this stage to take up?
Woman knows that breast changes after your breast size, everything changes during pregnancy, after pregnancy. So first the breast produces colostrum, which is the most important food for babies, like Gayatri told. And after a few days, the milk comes in and the breasts may become very full and hard and hot. And the nipples may also become very sensitive and they can, blister, and that can cause a lot of irritation, that can cause a lot of pain also during breastfeeding. So yoga can help improve the overall state of mind, because you're in that pain, and also it can help you overcome that. And also it can help tone the muscles, it can bring things back into shape, besides balancing your emotions. So it basically promotes fast recovery and improves overall well-being. So I think that is where postnatal yoga is really helpful for women. And in fact, I think, Renuka, nutrition is also very important. I feel, some of the things that you eat during that time after delivering your baby is also very helpful in healing your body, right? I mean, do you have such things?
Yes, so there are many things which women are prescribed, especially for the first 40 days after delivery, when they're still recovering from childbirth, and there are special ingredients which are added, which kind of helps them. So, because once when you're pregnant, obviously the baby is inside you, and all your other organs are kind of fighting for space, so they're a bit squished. And once you would have delivered the baby, again there's a big wound inside you because the placenta has been just been removed, the baby has just gone out, and so the digestion is very weak. So you have fed a lot of porridge stuff, you have fed a lot of herbs soaked in water, so that eases your digestion. And I think all these special things are made with a lot of love, prepared at home, so that you are not putting in any toxins, any chemical substances inside your body, and that really helps in recovery for uh, postpartum women especially. But this is a long ongoing process, like Gayatri said, that the mother and the child both learn in the process of breastfeeding, and while they are learning, they also, this is a long process, so most of the women feed their children for 1.5 or 2 years. So I'd like Gayatri to throw some light on how this breastfeeding journey progresses, and what kind of benefits do mothers and children derive after they have like set up something, they have overcome the initial challenges. What are the kind of benefits that women and the baby draw from this breastfeeding practice?
Absolutely. So, the World Health Organization's recommendation for breastfeeding is to exclusively breastfeed the baby for the first 6 months of baby's life, and continue to breastfeed the baby for a minimum, not a maximum, a minimum of 2 years and beyond. There is a common misconception that breast milk loses its nutrients after 1 year, and that a mother can stop just breastfeeding after 1 year, but this is not true. A baby's immune system doesn't develop completely until 5 years of their life. So continued breastfeeding will still give the baby a lot of nutrients. And breast milk, the beauty of breast milk is that it changes its composition based on the baby's needs. When the baby is the first few days, it has a different composition. When the baby is growing and is going through growth spurts, there's a different composition. And after 1 year, more fats, more proteins, there's a different composition. So breast milk never loses its nutrients. And also it provides the baby with antibodies to help the baby fight against the infections while he's still not able to do so, since he has a weakened immune system. So mother has to continue breastfeeding for a minimum of 2 years and beyond to give these benefits to the baby, not just nutritional, but also emotionally. Whenever the baby is sick, ill or sick, or he hurt himself, anything, you can ask any breastfeeding mom. It's just like a magical pill, right? You breastfeed the baby and the baby will immediately be calm. So it has many advantages. So definitely continue to breastfeed the baby and give the benefits of the nutrients and the emotional benefits too, for as long as you continue.
Yeah, Gayatri, very well said. I think the benefits kind of evolve in themselves, and they kind of
Yes.
fit in the journey for the entire journey. And I think we should be more supportive as a community to help women breastfeed for longer, because in India, I think we see that once it's the WHO set limit, which is like 6 months, is exclusive breastfeeding. But after that, most of the women do not have that support. They are mocked sometimes that you're still breastfeeding a child who's already 1.5 year old, who's already started eating solids. So why would you do that? You just want to make the baby more clingy. So that's the kind of questioning that the society does, and I think these are the kind of things we should be fighting for. So I'll hand this over to Kannu Priya.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Gayatri. So I want to know, like, till what age can a mother breastfeed? Is there any like limit? And what is the benefit of breastfeeding like beyond a certain age, if it continues?
Absolutely. So this was partly answered in the previous question, but the natural weaning age for the baby, if you don't actively wean the baby will self-wean anywhere between 2 to 7 years. There are mothers who breastfeed the babies for even as long as 6 to 7 years. And our past generations have done that. Our ancestors have done that. And they were very healthy. So like I said,
I know somebody who kind of breastfed her child till he was like 5 years old. So, which is I had never heard before. So you're right. 7 years, I guess that's a new record.
I mean that is the natural age. Like if you let them, if you don't tell them to stop, if you don't actively wean them off, anywhere between 2 to 7, it'll happen naturally. And they'll continue to get the benefits, right? They'll continue to get the nutrients and also the emotional benefits for as long as they feed.
So thank you, Gayatri. I think you gave us very deep insights on how breastfeeding is a crucial journey and how it should be tackled, not just after delivery, but even before delivery, when the woman is in her third trimester. I think that's when the education can start, and how we as a community should be supportive of the women who are going through this journey and help them understand themselves better, and also give them advice which they can take up for all these challenges that they face during their breastfeeding journey. I'll pass it over to you for some concluding remarks that you would want to give.
Sure thing. So first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity. And if there's any key takeaway from this session that I would want pregnant or new mothers to understand is, if possible, try to get your breastfeeding education before you deliver the baby. Once you deliver the baby, your life will be turned upside down in just one day. I'm not, my intention is not to scare you, but you need to be prepared for the reality, right? So you're going to be sleep deprived because the baby needs to be fed every 2 to 3 hours. A newborn is suddenly dependent completely on you. And it's your healing, you're physically healing from whether it's a vaginal or a C-section, you're still healing, right? And the third thing is you're emotionally you're not in the best state possible, because you'll be feeling low, and that's very normal. If you feel low, you're not feeling like yourself, you're not immediately bonding with the baby, it's completely fine. It's very, very normal. Okay, so if you know all of this before you deliver the baby, you'll be much more prepared. Just like how you feel so confident when you go to an exam after being very well prepared, right? You're like, I already know all the questions, I'm going to ace the exam. That's how it is for breastfeeding as well. The more you prepare, the better you will be, the more confident and more empowered you will feel in your breastfeeding journey. If that's not possible, it's still fine. In after you have a newborn, if you're having issues with latching, or if you're having issues with low milk supply, or any other problem that you're going through, please don't give up so soon. There is a lot of help available. There are so many people, there are lactation consultants who can actually work with you. Our goal is to help you breastfeed your baby. Like we'll be cheering for you so that you'll resolve your issues and successfully breastfeed your baby, right? So try to work with someone who will not give up on you, and who will guide you, and who will be there for you throughout your breastfeeding journey. Whenever you face a challenge, you need to have that support system, both internal support system, like your husband, your mother and mother-in-law. It's ideal if they also take the education along with the mother, so that all of them are on the same page. Because if the mother or the mother-in-law or the husband believe in something else, and you want to exclusively breastfeed the baby, and the baby is probably not gaining weight properly, they're going to be constantly like discouraging you on why you're doing this. So it's very, very important that they are all also on the same page. So try to get the education along with them. And after that, try to have that support system, both internal and external. Be it a support group, be it any lactation consultant, or any platform like NariCare, or any other platform who is helping moms to successfully breastfeed the baby and who is acting as a support system. Try to get that, and most likely you'll be able to resolve your issues if you're determined. Breastfeeding is 90% determination and 10% milk supply. So you got this. You can definitely do it. There's support available and there's help available. So please make use of it. And one thing that I do want to add is prenatal fitness plays a huge role. So prenatal yoga, like yoga, walking, or any exercise, it'll actually help the mom prepare well for the pregnancy, and she's likely to have a smooth labor and delivery. And when she has a smooth labor and delivery, the start to breastfeeding is much more easier. She'll be able to hold the baby, give skin to skin, and initiate breastfeeding within the first 1 hour. And she'll be able to continuously, frequently breastfeed the baby, because she's not in pain, or she's not had a traumatic birth, because it affects both the mother's capability and also the baby's capability to breastfeed efficiently. And also nutrition plays a huge role. If the mother is like, the nutrients that the mother gets from her food passes on to the bloodstream, and those nutrients are absorbed and taken by the baby. So definitely it's important for a breastfeeding mother to eat a well-balanced, nutritious diet. Please don't think that you only have to eat bland food in the first 4 or 6 weeks. That's not true. There's no blanket rule that mothers have to avoid certain foods. It's very widely practiced in India. We are asked to eat bland foods for the first 4 or 6 weeks. Even I did that, but it's not really necessary. There's no blanket rule that you have to avoid certain foods. You have to eat well balanced and nutritious diet. There are so many Indian foods. Even I'm sure Renuka could add in here. There are many homemade foods, like, whether it's fenugreek or oatmeal, or many other foods which act as galactagogues, which will help in increasing your milk supply. So Renuka, if you could add a few.
Yeah, I think you very rightly said that prenatal fitness and prenatal nutrition is very, very important. Even post delivery, this will help smoothen the experience of the mother as well as the child, because if a mother is fit, she is able to take care of herself. She's not feeling very sore. She has stamina. She has that energy to actually wake up every 2 hours and feed the child. And nutrition plays a very crucial role in this, in determining her energy levels. And most of the things that were fed traditionally were to help the woman who has just delivered very easily digest and assimilate the food. So that's where it comes that we were fed a lot of low spice food, because
Yes.
anyways your digestion is kind of weak at that time, and you wouldn't want any gas and bloating in your system. So you were fed a lot of, but then it's important to take care of taste. So no woman would want to eat those things unless it is tasty. So anyways, you're not feeling very well, so I think food kind of helps you cheer up. Once you see your plate, I think you should feel happy and feel that, yeah, I want to eat this. So I think it's a very fine balance of having that taste as well as keeping in mind the nutrition and the other things that your body has just been through, because it's a uphill task to deliver. And I think all the mothers out there would agree that, yeah, your body has gone through a very difficult task, and it's important to give it rest and time to recover and nourish it well, eat well, hydrate yourself well, which is very important to breastfeed. One of the crucial things that women miss is they do not drink enough water, or they do not drink enough fluids to help them in their breastfeeding journey. So I think that's also very important. And I'd like Kanupriya to give some concluding remark on how prenatal fitness helps women in this journey.
Yeah, I would just like to add that, the whole concept of prenatal yoga starts with just the idea of having a baby. Like when the couple is planning to have a baby, that is when the whole concept of Garbh Sanskar comes in, preparing the body for the baby, having the right state of mind, the emotional balance, to attract a good soul. Starts from there, and then developing strength and flexibility and stamina through the time. We avoid certain asanas in the first trimester, wherein in the first trimester, as it is, the woman is feeling very nauseous and not comfortable, and she's feeling acidic reflux. There is a myth that you should not do yoga during the first trimester. Something can happen, you might not be able to conceive, it's very delicate. But actually, I have seen, especially my batchmates who are yoga teachers themselves, they have been practicing yoga even during the first trimester, because they are yoga teachers. And for them, they said that even though it is difficult to practice yoga during first trimester, but they did more of meditations, more of mudra pranayams, more of breathing exercises, and it helped them reduce their symptoms so much in the first trimester. And and during the second trimester, you kind of start developing that strength. You can start feeling the baby's body is almost developed in the second trimester, by the second trimester. So you are able to focus more on developing your pelvic strength, your abdomen muscles, and especially because these muscles are very helpful for giving birth, and the strength of these muscles are actually required even after delivery for you to get back in shape easily. It helps in prevent tearing also if it is strong. So all these benefits are there if the woman starts doing yoga. I know women who don't even do, like, besides walking, they don't do anything. And for them, labor and delivery can actually be a very painful and traumatic experience, because they are not preparing their body to go through that whole process of delivering a baby. So having some physical form of exercise is very important. Of course, there are contraindications. There are conditions where it is challenging to do yoga, like placenta previa, when they have a low-lying placenta, or if they have gestational diabetes, or if they have any other condition. So in those complications, again, I would say, even if we can't do asanas, there are breathing techniques, there are mudras, there are meditations that you can listen to. And there are some or the other body movements that you can still do, some exercises that you can still do, right? Even in those conditions. So that important education is still missing in our society, I feel. But yes, it was lovely having you here, both of you, and discussing about all these things. I hope our audience also enjoyed as much as we do talking about it. And this is just one of the, I think, series of these talks that we'll be doing in future. And I guess I hope to meet you both soon on some very interesting topic again, if we find. So thank you so much, Renuka. Thank you so much, Gayathri, for coming here.
Thank you, Kannu Priya, for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.